At this time, we will call the Plan Commission to order, this Plan Commission meeting to order. All members are present, except for Mr. Zekis, and it's my understanding he is not on via Zoom. Okay? So, with that, we have public comments. If anybody would like to speak, please step towards the podium and you may speak to the board. Do we have anyone on Zoom? Last call for anybody in the room, if you'd like to speak in public comments. Seeing as there are none, we will move to our first item on the agenda, which is a consideration of a motion to approve the Joint Architectural Board Plan Commission minutes of the January 15th, 2024 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the Joint Architectural Board and Plan Commission minutes of the January 15th, 2024 meeting.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Abstain.
That motion is carried, and there was the one abstention. The next item we have is Plan Commission review and consideration of an extraterritorial certified survey map for the Roy property. This is at W298N2808 Shady Lane in the town of Delafield. Do we have representation for that here? I will add that when we look at these things, this is an extra, the village of Hartland is allowed, is it a mile and a half outside of our own boundaries to have a say on things that go on in towns. So that's why we have to vote on this, because they are a town. Again, Ryan has said it before and others have said it. I don't foresee Hartland ever taking over this piece of property. But if anybody would like to speak regarding this, they can.
Any concerns?
This proposed CSM will not adversely affect the village of Hartland.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the extraterritorial certified survey map for the Roy property located at W298N2808 Shady Lane, town of Delafield. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have Architectural Board review and consideration of an application for signage for Valvoline Instant Oil Change at 425 East Industrial Drive. Any representation for Valvoline here at this time? If you'd like to please step towards the podium. And if you could please give your name and just say how you're representing the
Sure.
organization.
My name is Benjamin Hogan, and I'm actually the owner of Badger Lighting and Signs, the contractor installing the signage.
If you could just give a brief description of what you're changing, if you're changing anything, and if you're replacing something that's exactly the same, or if that's changing.
So we will be removing the current signage that's up there. We do have the temporary sign permit that has banners covering the Citgo logo, as well as the small monument sign. We will be changing it to a shorter version, but still covering the same wall sides of what's currently there, except for two sides of the building. So we'll be putting less signage. And then as far as the monument sign, we'll be using the existing monument, but just with new plastic faces.
So replacing the plastic faces on the
Yeah.
same sign.
Yep.
Scott, any reservations or questions?
Any additional signage you're
There is
proposing?
no additional signage.
Okay.
Is the monument sign illuminated?
Yes, it is. Fluorescent interior. Yeah.
What are the hours it's illuminated?
I do not know that.
Okay.
Scott, they'll be maintaining the same hours as the previous company, correct?
I'm not sure why you'd want an illuminated sign on all night if they're not open.
Did it used to be?
I don't know that.
No. It would be.
So we would have to include that at this time?
Yeah, the 10 o'clock or,
Yeah.
Okay. Is that okay with you?
Yeah. I'm sure it is.
I'll make a motion to approve with the time for the internal illumination or illumination of the signs to be off at 10 p.m.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve with the stipulation that the signs would be turned off at 10 a.m. I'm just going to ask for clarification. What PM? What would the the on time, 5 AM or later. is
Recording
fine.
in progress.
Is that,
Yeah, dawn is fine.
okay.
I have one question on the, one that says illuminated, yes. Is it internal or external?
It's internal.
Okay, it's not specified on your
Oh,
application.
yes, it is internal.
Okay.
So we have a motion on the floor. Anything else, Chip?
That's it?
Quick
And I
question.
believe the internal, just to clarify for the question that you had, that's where the existing panels are being replaced?
Correct.
So the same sign exists, or Commissioner Walschlager?
Scott, is there any landscaping that needs to be done around the concrete base?
Well, that is a standard that maybe the previous owner didn't have to abide by because he was there for so long, but it's our village standard to landscape or soften a ground sign base.
And they've got plenty of room there. I don't see that that'd be an issue.
Well, there is a little, on the south, or the lower part of the sign, they have it's a informational board that they can put words on it. So if they want to put something like free oil change or something,
On Valvoline's new sign?
yeah, underneath
Okay.
it. So, right? Is that?
Yes, that
Okay,
is
so
correct.
we wouldn't want to block that, I don't think.
Or could go on the ends.
Well, that's fine.
Elevated.
That is something that we ask everybody to do now.
The base is a stone base, is that correct?
Brick base, yes, yep,
And grass goes right up to it?
yes, it does.
I was just asking.
No, that's fine.
The reason I ask, and not to create any conflict up here, the reason I ask is because it does seem like, and I could be wrong on this, it seems like grass grows up to brick much better than when you have a wood sign.
Oh, yeah.
For whatever reason, it just, you know what I mean, when they're weeding
I
and
just don't
stuff.
like the plain concrete there. And
Because they can choose low foliage.
But if we're going to distinguish between that, I think it needs to be clear to everybody and in writing. So in writing, does it say in our ordinances and our rules that, no, it doesn't?
No, it's a design standard in our Appendix C of our land use plan.
So just to clarify where we're at right now, and so no one gets confused, not that anyone is, there is a motion on the floor, so an amendment would have to be made to add that for us to do it properly, or you can ask the person that made the motion if he meant that this would go along with.
Yeah, sure. And I understand what you're saying I understand what you're saying from the perspective of normally we ask for some sort of softening or landscaping beneath the sign. I think from my purpose, I think the kind of decorative concrete kind of foundation base to this sort of serves that purpose to sort of soften just the straight up and down sign. And I think looking at the sign from a practical standpoint, I'm not sure where you would actually be able to put plantings necessarily. And it isn't an existing sign. So I think with that, I would tend to keep the motion as is and, just acknowledging that this is a existing sign that it would be challenging, I think, to actually put any kind of landscaping in that made sense.
We're just having the discussion. I think in this case I think what Mr. DeCoursey-Bauer was saying is that the concrete base, considering that it was with a previous business, and that it does provide the softening, is achieving what we normally would utilize foliage or shrubs for, at the base of 2 4x4 posts, things like that.
Well, I think it's because we have that option, and the ordinance doesn't call for it, and so we would select this on an individual basis, and so in this particular instance, I don't think it's necessary. Maybe other ones coming up in the future may, but this one, in my opinion, I'll go along with Dave where I don't think we need to do that.
However, there are other signs out there on the wood post, and those could use some shrubberies under them. If I'm trying to look at the sign sideways. And that you were saying like wood, and this is definitely on wood. So maybe on those, we could put something, so it's not just all the signs out in the yard or in the front area. I'd like to see some,
You can make a motion to amend. And sort of use like a shrubbery at the bottom of the posts.
I would like to make an amendment to the motion to add some decorative shrubbery around the post sign. Not the signs, not the concrete one.
Those signs, if I'm not mistaken, those are directional signs, right? Where it says enter and exit, that type of thing?
Correct.
There's a motion proposed. It would need a second. We have a second to have shrubbery or I believe you're just saying a landscaping.
Some kind of, yes.
At the base of,
Yeah.
which would be plantings. Last call for a second to the motion to add for having plantings at the base of the post signs. That motion will die for lack of a second. We have the motion on the floor to approve the, what we're looking at here with the signage and the proposed changes, with the stipulation that there is a 10 o'clock PM shut-off time and that sometime in the morning after 5 AM, that then the sign can be relit. Any other discussion?
Yeah, the only question I have is there a new owner to this service, or is he just switching product?
It is a new owner.
It is a new
It
owner.
is a new owner.
Because I was just curious if there was a time allotted for the original sign to turn on and off, and was still the same owner that now we're,
It's my understanding that there was not.
okay.
That's, Scott can correct me if I'm wrong. That's why I'm always somewhat lenient when it's just changing if someone wouldn't know something. However, I mean, when it comes down to the letter of the law, people would say when you're buying something, that's why you have to read the whole HOA agreement or whatever, because they may not have been doing it, but this could come up. But this also, on the flip side of that argument, for this board, the Plan Commission, the Architectural Board, this is also the chance for Hartland to correct anything that may not have been appropriate or done properly in the past if it wants to see something change. So just throwing out both sides there.
The 10 o'clock is fine, I just didn't know if Hartland had an
I
agreement
don't
with the
bel-
previous owner.
I
and
don't
he's
believe the
still
previous owner had the direct stipulation like we're directing here
Okay.
for that property. Scott, am I wrong on that or do you know?
No, you're correct.
Okay. So we have the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else that you would have to deal with would be with staff, well, like Scott.
Okay.
Just so you know. You're welcome. Now we have Architectural Board review and consideration of an application for signage for Brookfield Cardiovascular Associates located at 625 Walnut Ridge Drive. Any representation from that company or firm here tonight? All right, Mr. Hussinger, could you fill us in just on any correspondence you've had or anything you want to add to the board to help us make any decision?
It's my understanding that they are no longer seeking approval for their signage from this board. And I'm not sure why, but it was just to place their, let's say, company name on 2 multi-tenant signs.
So, well then, if that's the case, then I would make the motion that we just postpone this indefinitely, which in effect kills it. It doesn't mean they can't bring it back up, but they're gonna have to word it a little differently, but we're just gonna postpone this
And that,
indefinitely, which ultimately kills it.
and
But,
that came up today.
okay, I'll make a motion to postpone this item indefinitely.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to postpone indefinitely the signage for the cardiovascular, sorry, I don't have the exact wording, Brookfield Cardiovascular Associates located at 625 Walnut Ridge Drive, which was proposed and then sounds like it was pulled back. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. While the motion was carried, it means that that signage plan that they proposed does not go through. It didn't pass the board. Now we have the Architectural Board review and, what was that? Oh, sorry. Now we have Architectural Board review and consideration of an application for signage for Landmark Credit Union at 801 Cardinal Lane. It's my understanding that they are on Zoom. If you could just state your name, your association with the applicant, and give us a brief description of what you're doing.
I'm Sean with Innovative Signs representing Landmark. Landmark is doing a complete rebrand.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to,
So-
we have just a slightly bad connection. I'm gonna ask that you say that again, please, just so that we can take it for the minutes.
Sure, Sean Relkin with Innovative Signs.
Can you spell the
representing
last
Landmark.
name?
Relken.
And your title, you're with Landmark?
No, innovative signs.
I'm with Innovative Signs.
Okay. We're good. We got all the information we needed just to identify. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for that. Go ahead.
No problem. This is a complete, just a rebrand. Everything is a reface, with exception of the Raceway letter set. The Raceway letter set that we're swapping in is slightly smaller in the logo size, but basically the same size, within a few inches shorter actually. So no new signs, no additions, just refacing what is already there.
Mr. Hussinger, anything that you'd like to touch on with the board?
No, I just want to make sure that we understand that there are no additional signs being proposed. There are a lot of signs being swapped out, similar or same location. If it's anything more than that, the applicant needs to point that out.
Have you seen
Absolutely
anything
not.
that would
Everything
indicate
is-
that?
Everything is a reface.
That's fine.
Do you have it as your opinion to us are you fine with this?
I am. Can you describe the type of illumination being proposed?
The channel letter set that we're installing will be LED illuminated, and if the monument is existing fluorescent, that'll be upgraded to LEDs.
And that's fine.
Anybody from the board have any questions?
Yeah, hours of operation for light.
The question was hours of operations for lighting. What are they currently?
I don't know the exact timing of that, but I do know that all landmark locations are run off of a timer, astronomical timer. So whatever existing parameters were set by the board is that. If there was 10 o'clock as the previous applicants, I can pass that along to their electrician.
It sounds like you're saying there'd be no change. We could refer to staff to find out what they were. Mr. Hussinger, you don't know, do you?
No,
Off
I
the top
don't.
of your head. If you want to contact Scott, he'll give you. He'll tell you. Anybody else from the board?
I mean, I'll make a motion to approve with, again, the condition that the lights go off at 10 p.m.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the, sorry, because I have to go look. I'm working off of Edge today instead of something else, so I apologize. To approve the Landmark Credit Union signage plan and swap out at 801 Cardinal Lane with the stipulation. Can you rephrase that?
Just the illumination on any type of sort of illumination, internal illumination goes off at 10 p.m.
Yeah, 10 p.m. So that's what I was, thank you. Did get a second, correct?
Yes.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So now we have architectural board review of and consideration of a public art plan by Arrowhead High School students and the Hartland Business Improvement District. If you'd go ahead and step towards the podium and.
Hello, I am Kristen Smith. I am the director of the Hartland Business Improvement District, and we are proposing a public art installation seeking approval on the design only. Installation will have to follow, but I'm here with Warhawk Manufacturing. This is Jeff. He is one of their teachers, and then I have 3 students that will introduce themselves. Bob is also here. He's a member of the board. I apologize if some of this is repeat information for Anne, but public art is growing in popularity everywhere, and you see it a lot around Waukesha County as well. Waukesha did the guitars, Oconomowoc has the Wizard of Oz, murals, Menominee Falls has an entire downtown mural tour. Milwaukee has a large collection of sculptures and murals, and a lot of these communities will have maps where they have different spots where you actually go visit all the different locations, which is ultimately what we're trying to kick off as kind of a public art tour that would be in Hartland. So Recent studies show that 40% of people under the age of 33 select trips based on their Instagrammability. So it's important, I think, for us to stay relevant, to stay current, to have kind of a pop culture spin on Heartland is what we're going for. This was completely designed and will be manufactured by Warhawk Manufacturing from start to finish. So it's got our local high school engaged, which I think is pretty cool. And I will let them take it away with their design, and I can come back later if there's any questions. And here you go.
So, yeah, my name is Jeff Luchwager. I currently teach the EDD and Warhawk Manufacturing class at the high school. Warhawk Manufacturing is a senior-only class. We build products for the community, a lot of metal art. We've done sheds. We've done things. We just completed a scorer's table. We're working on a wedding wall backdrop right now. So we do just about anything. The goal is to have students run their own business, and that's how we were approached by the bid team earlier this summer. They thought this would be a project that might fit well with with what we do. I also teach the engineering design and development class. We call it EDD. That'd be juniors and seniors. We refer to them as our highest level engineering students. We felt that the Warhawk class was more involved with the manufacturing. Maybe we'd have our engineering students work through this project because it has more to do with design. So we've presented 3 different rounds to the bid team, and this is our kind of our 4th go around. We let the students group up. These students are doing this on their own time. There's no grade attached to this or anything, just passion for the project, and I think they believed in the spirit of what the bid team's trying to create here. So with that, the idea would be we get approval on the design, and then this project will go from these 3 and be actually manufactured with our Warhawk Manufacturing students. So I wanted to give you a little background just to let you know we have quite a bit of time put into this. It started off with about 60 students, and through voting and process of elimination, we're down to, we think, our 3 best candidates here. So we have Nicole, Pack, and Matthew, and they'll walk you through the presentation.
All right, so like you mentioned, my name is Pack Davis. I'm a junior at Arrowhead. So I'll jump right into the design of this. So you can see it right here, and it's also in the presentation. There's an actual scaling drawing of it. But these letters are, depends on the letter, but I believe the L is 3 feet by 4 feet, and that's length to height. And the N and the D, I believe, are square at 4 feet by 4 feet. The heart is 4 feet wide, but is not quite 4 feet tall. I believe it's just under. And then all the width of the letters is 12 inches. Yeah, you can see it up there. So also up in there, you can see the scaling that would have just like a normal person. That's 5'8", 3/8 of an inch. So yeah, the letters are gonna be made of brushed stainless steel as far as L and D. And the heart is going to be powder coated with a red coat of paint to kind of give it a bit of like a pop. And I guess on a side note with the heart, we do understand, we mentioned this to the bid committee, that Heartland's trying to kind of steer away from that. And we just want to mention that it's not really as much about that as it's not supposed to be a branding, I guess. It's more of just, I guess, what do I call it in the last one?
Instagrammability.
Well, yeah.
Social media presence.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just for social media presence, Instagrammability, which is what most of this product is about. I guess, do you guys have any questions, specifications about the design? There's an example of the lighting for the sculpture and kind of how a brushed stainless steel can look with reflection from light that we were hoping to have nearby, depending on, obviously the location of those lights would depend on the location that would be agreed upon at a later time. But today we're just trying to get these 4 letters approved so we can have Warhawk as much time to build it as they can.
What type of lighting is that? and I'm just, like, looking at the picture, it's going to be some type of a light from kind of the ground, but that will give it that colorful, that artistic, trendy feel? Okay.
I believe in
I can kind of see from there, they're just kind of flat panels where I believe that this may be more, kind of more direct, but it will give it that color that you'll see bouncing off that brushed stainless.
Yeah, that photo is just from a trip I had a couple months ago in Colorado. I believe there's just a couple LED spotlights, really small, just kind of up on like the ceiling under the little pavilion. So nothing big. Didn't take up much space.
Oh, no, I wasn't asking from that regard. I'll get to where I'm going, but I'll do that when it's board discussion. But no, I think it's good. I was just kind of wondering, because it looks like they're almost set in the ground.
No, they were up in the ceiling, I believe. Just from
Oh,
the
in
pavilion
that
this was
picture?
in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In-ground lights wouldn't look much different.
I just saw the shadows, and it seemed like it was more at ground level. So.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Anybody else have any questions for him? Doesn't anybody else want to speak from the school? You don't have to.
Can we go back one slide?
Just step towards the mic so they can pick it up on the recording.
So, I just want to back up one slide here. The idea would be city provide concrete and anchor bolts, and we would take it from there. So the letters would be just a little bit off that concrete base, like you see in the picture. So these guys can kind of play around with lighting, position lighting, but they'll be in the village to provide the lighting. We did note there in one of the locations there is currently a light pole there, potentially maybe pulling power from there or replacing the power or the light with this structure being lit up. So I'll let.
And when he says that, he's referencing Site 1, I believe. Just Site 2 of Atlantic?
There are 3 sites we're looking at. This is Site 1. The letters here would be placed slightly staggered to mimic the curvature of the road. We think this would make it dynamic and more interesting. However, it's a bit difficult to take pictures, and as you can see, there is a light pole in the way. Site 2 is the best site for taking pictures. It is also the safest. However, there are low-hanging power lines, so we do have to look into that. And then Site 3, we do not think this would be a good site because there are power lines and signs in the way. It's difficult to take pictures. There's not a lot of space. So overall, we think Site 2 is the best site.
I have a question for Site 2. I have heard, and I don't know if this is confirmed yet, but that the tree that we use for the tree lighting, I heard is diseased and is going to be coming down. So I guess what I'm saying is if that tree's gone, they might be able to reconfigure that whole intersection for you to put that there and make it look even nicer than what it would be. That's just what I heard, anyway.
Do we need to get the Rotary, since they donated that, do we have to get in touch with them if we're gonna redo things? Get their input on what they've donated?
Yeah, eventually we would. So today, really, the focus is not on the site, it's the construction. So the goal for them is the school year ends May, June for the students. So it's gonna take them quite a while to produce that. The village would then get it, hold on to it until we come up with a location, a plan, everything. Their big goal is they wanted to take it from beginning to finish. They didn't want next year's students to work on a passion that these guys
Right,
and
I
gals are very
understand.
passionate about. So yeah, we would come forward at a later date time with a location, because there is, yeah, that tree, there's talk about replacing it this year. Not that whole intersection is ours, some of it is ours, so there's logistics with everything, with any of the sites, so.
One more quick question. Is it my understanding, I just want to clarify, that you guys are doing the sign and then you want the village to do the concrete, the bolts, and the lighting? Is that right?
Yes.
I just want to make sure I have that right. Okay, thank you.
Only question I really thought of too, sometimes we deal with, in our parks, graffiti. How would this material work? Do you guys have, I would just ask you guys come up with a solution for graffiti, what might be able to help us, because unfortunately we do get people graffiti things.
I think we'll be after this structure will have some depth, so there'll be a lot of welding. You'll have the front face of the letter, back face, and to put the depth, and there'll be sides to this. So, being that it's going to be already welded, we'll have to refinish it. I would think that if there was any graffiti, it would be kind of the same process. So, Scotch-Brite pad may work just fine.
With it being stainless, I would think, I mean, it does make it
Being
easier because there's gonna
stainless.
be no corrosion or anything.
Correct. Yes.
Is there a finish that would come off of it if we had to scrub
Not
that?
not the stainless letters. The heart we may have to touch up because that would be colored. But powder coating is pretty durable. So I think if you found out about it fairly quick, you'd be able to get it off.
I think it also is helpful if the last slide in our presentation, we have a little diagram of the letters with each of them being about roughly 4 feet long. It equates to about being 16 feet wide of a sculpture. Just some rough testing we conducted showed that a majority of smartphones can take the photo about 14 feet away, and with the goal of being social media presence, kids going there for homecoming or weddings or other ways to kind of use it as a way to get any photos on social media. All those sites we had mapped out with the intention of being able to make sure people could take photos next to it and that the person taking the photo can get everybody in frame. And that's why we believe that this design, along with the sites that we were given to pick from, this design kind of allows not only that social media aspect, but also there can be a group of friends that sit behind it or put their arms on top of it, and it allows everybody to kind of be captured within the entire frame of the sculpture.
And just as a quick note, the reason they're recommending some of these is because they are downtown. That's where the bid comes into play. They are paying for a lot of the design parts, pieces. I want to say $5,000 to $7,000 of that is approximately.
Yeah, there's a slide on that. It's a couple previous to this that outlines the estimates that we have. There we go. So in between all the letters, the powder coating, and then the different consumables that would be needed to prepare the sign, we have priced out some of that in the early stages here.
So that's obviously why the first one is desired to be in the downtown in the bid, and eventually, if this grows, that there would be others throughout parks and other locations around the village. So
I think it's a cool idea. I think if you look at that wall over there, you can see for how I believe that picture was taken in 1956, the one with the heart and Hartland. And I think that what you've come up with here, because for so long, even though I know someone made mention that Hartland's moving away and going to another logo, and it wasn't just me, the board decided that, but like I always had trouble since I lived here. I'm like, it's not even spelled that way. But it is part of our history that heart has been there for so long. But what I really think is cool is I like that there's the LND, not LAND, because in this day and age, we're like, I'm not going to put the A in there. It's just LND. You're going to know what I mean. You can do this, but so it brings today and the future with yesterday, but this is kind of that meeting point, and I think that that's really, really cool. And it does represent our history because that heart will always be part of that. And I think it's going to be a wonderful, definitely for the people of Hartland and for Arrowhead, I think it'll be wonderful to have this here. I do believe that we're the biggest community that does feed into Arrowhead. And this is, I mean, when Arrowhead has something going on, it's like, all right, let's do it in Hartland, homecoming parade and stuff like that. But I think it's an outstanding idea, and I think it'd be great to have collaboration, to have people come together to make it happen, like the village providing what they provide in the bid, kicking in to do what they need to do. I do want to ask you, what would be an ETA if all of a sudden this is green, if you get to go? Is this something that would be a hometown celebration type of unveiling, or is this something that would take longer than that? Hometown celebration is the last weekend in June.
Originally, that was kind of the goal. Just going through the process of elimination here and meeting with the different groups, it's taking a little bit longer. So that would be something we'd have to take back to our team. But yes, we would try to push as much as we can. We'd like somehow these three, their names on here, small, little plaque, so they can kind of, or in the concrete, so they can come back and remember this. And then we'd also like our Warhawk students from this year that are familiar with them, our Warhawk manufacturing students, to have some kind of dedication thing on there too. So I would like to say absolutely. We just got swamped with 2 other like major projects we've been working on all year. So I don't.
I was just wondering.
I hope that doesn't
No, I was
affect
just
anything.
wondering.
The goal would be to try to be done manufacturing it by the end of the year. I think we're pushed a little bit. We could agree with that or
Sure.
agree on that.
Sure.
School year, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the consideration of public art plan by Arrowhead High School students and the Hartland bid.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the, gotta get my agenda. It's been moved and seconded to approve the art plan by Arrowhead High School students and the Hartland Business Improvement District. We got a motion in a second, right? Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor. I do want to note, we do have a plan commissioner that has entered the meeting. Mr. Zekis is on, just for the record. Any discussion? Hi, Dino.
Hell of a time logging in due to security at our company.
Understood. Well, good to hear from you all the same.
The first time in the States in 2 months.
Understood.
Thank you.
Have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys, good luck.
Thank you.
We'd ask one more favor if we can just get a picture for documentation. In front of a lot of-
You mean you want us to take the picture?
No, we just want you in the background.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Maybe we should all stand and like get in the center.
Grab the heart, Jeff, and hold it up.
Yeah.
Over the wall.
You guys should stand around the heart and get me out of the.
We can just put
You guys go.
just push the chairs back and then step right in the middle.
Move over, Deb. Are they gonna do it over there?
Yeah.
Where are you doing it?
Because you have an iPhone 3. We gotta wait and see where they're going.
We should do it in front of the
Just the
mural.
distance, see if it works with the 14 feet. This is
Yeah.
verification.
The
of
mural, we can get the
14
14
here.
feet.
Yeah, this is a good test.
Oh, yeah, this will be really wide. This is really wide.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
You guys gotta do it all again next Monday, or the next board meeting.
Yeah.
It's gotta go another way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck.
I got a question, are these gonna be, they're not gonna be extremely heavy, are they? I mean,
Yeah, they'll be heavy enough. It's stainless steel.
yeah, I'm just saying is.
You're not gonna
do
steal it.
Involvement, just like set them up or paint those and prop them into 3 sites.
Oh,
You know, just see how it's gonna look.
The item that we have, the next, thank you very much, you guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
The next item that we have is Plan Commission review and consideration of a request for conditional use permit and business occupancy for Performance Pickleball of Wisconsin. This is at 528 East Industrial Drive. First item of business we got to do with that is we have to have a public hearing. So at this time, I am going to open that public hearing for anybody that would like to speak from the public regarding, Performance Pickleball of Wisconsin. And seeing as no one's stepping towards the podium, I'll ask, is there anybody on Zoom that would like to comment on Performance Pickleball of Wisconsin in Hartland? All right. May the record show that no one chose to speak. So I will close the public hearing, and at this time, we will have a consideration of a motion to recommend approval of a conditional use permit and business occupancy. First, I will ask, is there anybody here representing that? If you'd like to step to the podium and very briefly just state, I know you've been here before, we had to do the public hearing, but just a brief overview, very, very brief.
Hi, my name's Will. I'm a coach in the area that's looking to build a pickleball club in Hartland. I noticed you guys are doing a lot of work with your new courts in Nixon Park, and I am, I guess, a social influencer as well on Instagram. And we're trying to build a club that can expand from 1 court into 5 courts and really bring pickleball to the community of Hartland. And that's the general gist I'm trying to do.
So, I mean, the current location that he's at used to be the indoor soccer facility. So I don't see an issue.
Oh, I don't either. I guess I will just come out and ask my question. Is there a chance that if the Heartland Rec Department ever needed space, that you might be willing to work with them as members of the community?
Absolutely, I'd love to actually. I've worked with Hartland in the past with pickleball events. We've rented a space before, so we'd love to. I
Wonderful.
think it'd be great, especially
Wonderful.
with schools
That,
too.
it's something we're a short supply of.
Yeah, well, happy to, especially with schools too. We'd love to get some kids in there, and we'd love that.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the conditional use permit and business occupancy for the name of the company is Performance Pickleball of Wisconsin.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the occupancy and a conditional use permit for Performance Pickleball of Wisconsin, located at 528 East Industrial Drive in Hartland. Any discussion?
Scott, any concerns?
Question, will there be any spectators, or is it strictly for members only?
At this moment in time, there will be, it's a membership-based tier, so, but then we have the option to open play to try and bring more of the community into the space on a long-term basis. But at the moment we are.
The other comment I'll make is that the previous conditional use, which was for indoor soccer, had such irregular hours that the fire department, who normally does the annual inspections, didn't get in there for like 7 years. And it was not okay. And so I'd like to make one of the conditions of approval that it's up to you to schedule with the Hartland Fire Department annual inspections.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which is, I think, their standard.
Okay.
I am going to be, that's so important. I'm going to ask the person that made the motion if they'd like to incorporate what Mr. Hussinger just said into the motion. Was it?
Do I need to say the whole thing over then? Oh.
No, you just would say yes or no, because Scott just said he just wants them to buy into
I would like to
annual
add into the
inspections.
motion Scott's comments regarding the annual fire inspection and scheduling that.
Would the person that made the second agree with that?
I agree.
Okay? With that being said, so the motion on the floor is to approve what you have set forth, but the stipulation is you will need to talk to our inspector and set forth the parameters of how you're going to make sure that there is an inspection and an annual inspection done moving forward in the future, or with the fire chief. Yep, but you would assist if they contact you. So there's a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Oh, I'm sorry, Dino, you had a comment?
No, no.
All opposed? That motion passes. Scott, thank you for adding that to this also. Those are things that sometimes being up here we wouldn't know, so I really mean that. Thank you very much for catching that. Definitely.
Troy, from Kwik-Trip, your item is up. Are you taking it on Zoom, or do you want us to hold it off for a little bit?
You could hold it in 1 minute. I'll actually be in the building.
Okay.
Hold it. So then what I will do is I'm going to ask the board if it's okay. I'm just gonna ask kind of for a hands vote here. Is it okay with everybody if we postpone? Well, actually, we have to suspend the rules. It's the right way to do it. If someone wants to make a motion to suspend the rules, we could take the Kwik-Trip item and move them down or table the item to later in the meeting. They're running behind. Yeah. Just a table to later in the meeting.
Yeah, make motion to table to later in the meeting.
It's been moved and seconded to table item 8 till later in the meeting, as the people coming are running behind and are not in the building yet. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried, so item 8 we will come back to within this meeting. We are now on item 9, which is initial plan commission review and conditional use permit and business occupancy permit applications for IB26 LLC, which is at 704 and 70 through 706 Rose Drive. We basically just need to set a public hearing here, if I'm not mistaken. Scott, is that correct?
It'd be nice if the applicant would give us a quick overview.
Okay. We have someone, if you'd like to step towards the podium and.
I'm here to speak on behalf of Ian. He's actually currently out of town. He couldn't even get in on the Zoom, so I'm here to speak for him. He's very excited to bring his youth soccer. He was already in a space at the 528 East Industrial Boulevard, and he was running his show there, doing youth soccer with his athletes. He has a huge presence in the community throughout just Milwaukee in general as well. I got the opportunity to go to one of his practices down in Franklin. He has about 40 of high-level athletes that he's helping coach to get to the next level. He himself is a professional soccer player for the Milwaukee Wave, and he's helping coach younger athletes to get to that next level of college, which is a lot of their goals. The cool thing with what he's doing now, opening this facility that I'm going to be working with, I work for ETS Performance, and so we're going to be partnering where he's going to be doing his soccer, but also I'll be doing strength training on the other side to help get his athletes athletic training or athletic performance training to get them the next edge as well. I'm here to help facilitate any questions as well, if you guys have questions for the use of what he's going to be doing.
Yeah, you have for the board.
I mean, that's it. Thanks for the brief description.
And today is just setting a public hearing for March. March would be the approval if that's the way you go, and then to the village board for approval at the end of March.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for March 18th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the public hearing for the IB26 LLC training facility and what they're requesting to be moving forward with, that public hearing be set for March 18th, 2024. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. So that public hearing will be set. Thank you. I'm going to take the next item right away, because Kwik-Trip's going to take longer than anybody else, so I might as well blow through them.
Okay.
Maybe not. But
That's fine.
do you suggest I don't?
You can. I think that will take a while.
Now we have, the Gideon Farms will take long, you think?
Good. Oh, cool.
Okay.
You can do that
At this time, we have a conceptual review of Gideon Farms on property currently in the town of Merton. Do we have representation for them here?
Andy Gale, representing Gideon Farms.
Do you want to just give a description and, you know, what you're, kind of like what you
Sure,
submitted?
absolutely. So drawings have been submitted, so it is currently a 40-acre farm on the corner of Highways K and E, opposite the high school. The intent is to keep 35 acres of that as agricultural moving forward, and developing the 5 acres on the corner that are currently buildings, developing that into what will largely be a farm-to-fork restaurant type operation. There are several buildings proposed in 4 phases. The first phase would be a coffee shop and ice cream shop. The second phase would convert the existing barn on the property into a restaurant. The third phase is creating what is considered a micro dairy. It is not, so lots of people get caught into what kind of dairy. It is not a dairy for cows. There will be no milking going on there. We would be bringing in raw milk from local farms, and it would be a USDA facility that would be converting that milk into drinkable milk, ice cream mix, and or butter for use on site, for sale on site. We would also like that USDA facility to be available for tour groups, for schools, to realize what food manufacturing looks like in 2024. The last piece is future retail, and there's a lot of, we are constantly getting questions, comments as to what they would like to see on that corner. We are continuing to take feedback for that. For us, this is a community project. We want it to be farm focused, but we continue to take a lot of feedback on what that future retail looks like.
The community that this is in, that you refer to a community project, is?
Well, obviously, this is, it is currently in the town of Merton.
That's what I just wanted to
Correct.
clarify.
It is currently in the town of Merton. We are looking to get it transferred into the village of Hartland.
You are?
We are looking for annexation. That is why I'm here today.
Yeah, they would need the water and sewer facilities that we do provide. It is stub there. The intent in our long-term plan is that this parcel would come in beyond it as 4 Winds West. But obviously, as you mentioned, I think key to know is you said phases, but it's probably more of like a 10-year, possibly phased approach.
It is a multi-year phased approach. It's always, from me, it's always been a 10-year plan. As I said, phase one, we would like to get started here at the end of 2024, but we'll need definitely help from the village in order to get that happen.
What phase would the walking path be in? I noticed you have a walking path on the way.
There is a walking path there now.
Oh, there is.
So we started mowing that path last summer. It needs a number of more passes in order to get it smoothable, smooth enough that.
It's not open to the public, though, is it?
Well, it is private property, but
Yeah.
anybody who asks me if they can walk it, certainly 4 Winds West is well aware of it, and they do walk it.
I'd have a couple questions. First
Absolutely.
of all, don't take those lights off that tree. I watched them put it up, and that thing is awesome.
Thank you.
Where are your cows that are out already, where are they housed? In
So-
like hailstorms, real bitter cold, where are they housed?
So the cows are not ours. So we work with local farmers to bring cows in for the summer. So the cows, we have no intentions of putting up a barn at this time where we would have our own cows and keep them there year round. So those cows are seasonal.
So you rent them or you lease it out for them to put
We
their?
lease the property out, so we actually get paid for the cows to be there.
Okay.
In the more often than not, those are year-old heifers. So in the lifespan of a milking cow, you're born, you spend 1 year being a calf. You are then impregnated, and you spend another year giving birth. And once you give birth, then you start being milked. And so these are typically cows that these are typically cows that are pregnant.
I was raised on a farm here.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah. My next question is, I just want to confirm, there is no drive-through from Highway K to E, is that correct? You can't drive through the property?
That is correct. We do not
Okay.
want a drive-through from K to E. We do not want it to be a shortcut tour from the high school.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of
We
them.
have spent significant time with the county. So the drives that are proposed on this plan are drives that were recommended by the county. These are their locations, not mine.
And then on the loading dock, which has the future dairy,
Yes.
is that big enough for a semi to actually turn and back in there?
That is not designed for a semi. That is designed for a milk, for what I would call a farm truck. So something, usually a small straight truck, usually 5,000 to 10,000 pounds of milk. I would not try to bring semis into that location.
Okay, well, I didn't think it would fit there.
No, and it's not designed for that. We did design the drive coming off of E to handle semis, that more for the restaurants and restaurant deliveries.
Where the loading dock is.
Correct.
Well, and with that, the last question I have is, where is the main door? The reason I'm asking is because the restaurant has the stalls to the south, and then there's 10 stalls right by it, but then the other ones are quite a ways away. So where's your front door, main door for that restaurant?
The main door for the restaurant is still to be determined. The expectation is that it is on the west side, so that people would be walking, quote, through the corn crib, or as it's laid out on this. That's the current design. There are a number of revisions that need to come back before we're prepared to bring that restaurant to the Planning Commission.
Yeah, and
You're
I
welcome. Thank
should
you.
mention, the point of tonight is conceptual. Is this something that the village would like to see? He has a desire to bring it forward into the village for, obviously, water and sewer purposes. The remaining pieces, it would all be one lot, essentially, like we talk about, and then the grass, the field, would probably never be touched. That's the intent.
That is the intent. At some point, as I said, the only reason why it may remain two is just because of trying to put the agriculture into permanent conservation. That would be the only reason to separate the two off. The number one problem, the other part other than sewer water, is I do need to get this rezoned. It is currently zoned public since the high school owned it for 20 years. So it is all currently zoned public, so it does need to be rezoned prior to building permits being issued.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think there's, processes that we need to go through, but, I think the concept of taking, it's amazing when the trees kind of came down on that corner, you could actually see the farm and you could see the buildings and you could actually see what was back there. I really think this is a fantastic plan and like a vision for what reusing, some older buildings and older structures in the village could be.
Yeah.
And I think that it would be something the community would love to go to. I think it'd be very popular. I think that it also maintains some of the history and character around Hartland being an agricultural community. I think there's an educational component of it from what you're saying as well. And I think this could be a fantastic use of this piece of property. I really do. And I think it takes vision and investment, quite frankly, to turn old buildings into something. So I think your 10-year time frame makes sense from that perspective. But I think it's just great to see sort of the vision there to keep these historic buildings, to keep the really that alive in our community. And I think that's a fantastic thing that you're trying to do here. So I would absolutely think it would be something that we would want in the village.
Thank you very much. To that point, everybody, the one negative I've been getting recently is, what am I doing with the large pile of stone that's there? We have not brought in a single piece of stone to that property. The pile of stone that there is all reconstituted concrete from the previous buildings that were already there. So as I've slowly taken buildings down and cleaned everything up, we ended up with a extremely large pile of stone that we are looking forward to using once we start getting building permits to reuse it.
I think it looks like a good use of the land. I look at the restaurant and I don't know what buildings you would start with. When you say it's a 10-year plan, I don't know what you would start with and then go to. I'm not sure whether some of this you're going to kind of lease it out. How are you going to cover the cost of all the I'm just, sure. If all of a sudden this gets going, and I think I'm right on this, if a process is all of a sudden started, there's got to be a way to make sure that it's going to come. So there's going to end up, there's going to end up being some, line of credit or something that someone's going to have, that if all of a sudden someone stops making it happen, it's going to happen. Is that something that's prepared for?
That is prepared for.
Okay.
So as I said, the first two buildings are the coffee shop and the ice cream shop, the two in the middle. Okay. They will look like, the coffee shop is designed to look like a farmhouse. It is 2 stories. The second floor does have an apartment currently associated with it. Same with the ice cream shop. It will look like a machine shop that is relative to the machine shop that was there originally. Also with an apartment above. I have pretty strong commitments from 2 retailers who actively want that coffee shop, who actively want that ice cream shop, and I look forward to working with them moving forward.
And then slowly, then you'll bring in the restaurant and the other things, and kind of build parking as is needed according to the plan.
Correct. Yep.
I think it's a great way to, especially as, there's no question that Hartland's not going to start shrinking, at least not the way I see it, and buildings aren't going to get lower the way I see it. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm right on that, but I think that it's going to continue just for keeping taxes lower. But for, if there's a way to be able to maintain, utilizing a property like this, I actually think you might end up being short on parking spaces. But you'll actually have people driving.
I hope so.
I think it's kind of cool, but you won't have my vote on it unless you get annexed.
Understood.
No, I'm kidding.
That's okay.
I'm not kidding, but
yeah. So
I'm
I
not saying
did. Yeah, I did attend Swallow K through 8. I did attend Arrowhead all 4 years, and I have continued to stay in touch with both Swallow and Arrowhead as I continue to do drawings.
Well, this is conceptual. Oh, go ahead.
When dealing with the county, I noticed you have kind of a walkway on the corner of K and E.
Correct.
Has the county have any interest of making a turn lane or anything there? Have they brought anything up to try to alleviate traffic problems they have at school opening and closing?
The county has not brought up anything with respect to turn lanes there. I've asked them about it. They do have right-of-way there, and so they have the room to do a turn lane if they ever chose, and we're very conscious of that. I don't like the walkway as it's currently sitting in this drawing. I don't like at all. And a lot of that is how we would do walkway with Swallow. The younger children, Arrowhead's a little bit easier because at least you have people who are trained to look both ways. And the fact that you don't have walkways on Swallow is an issue. And so we have talked to Swallow about that, and they are considering things on their end, what they would like to see. And then we would try to match what they want to do.
And then lastly, would be the west extension of the barn, which was, the Vilters use it for feed storage. It faces the road, it's pretty close to the road and Swallow across from it. Are you considering on using the entire barn space, or would you take
The
wing
east
off?
end of the barn, you said the west end.
I'm sorry, the
The
east end of the barn, yeah.
Yeah, so the east end does, it is not on county land, but it is within 2 or 3 feet. It is extremely close to the property line. And yeah, we are cognizant that at the point that I would come back to the planning commission here, you may or may not allow me to, maintain that location, since it would certainly be, it'd be very close to the property line. It is very close to the property line.
Yeah, I'm just saying now, as your plans, continue to grow, if there was any way that you would consider taking off that east, or shortening up that east wing to try to give some more visual, it's kind of, I've been driving by that thing for years, and that thing just kind of seems to pop right out at you, especially with all the foliage gone along the road now, it really sticks out.
Sure.
Which is great, because you can see around the intersection now.
Right.
But that end of the building is very close to the road.
Yeah, so again, we continue to evaluate as we go along. Obviously, we've already taken down several additions to that barn that were on the north end, that were on the west side. We've taken down several that just were already collapsing on themselves. So we're just trying to salvage what we have left. At the end of the day, the current thought is that we will end up having to build an entirely new barn that wraps the old barn, and we will pin the old barn to a brand new barn. And so exactly how that's going to work, still to be decided. You're welcome.
Great use of the land.
Yeah, I like the idea.
Thank you.
So this is just conceptual, and we will have plenty of time to talk about anything.
I'm going to be in front of you for a long time.
Yeah, you will. And when I say unfortunately, I'm saying unfortunate for you. It's not unfortunate for us. We're here anyway.
That's all right.
But
So just so everyone's aware, this goes to the village board next week for concept review as well. After that, it's kind of on your timeline of when you
At the moment,
annex and-
I'm
I do
trying
wanna
to
ask-
move as quickly as I can at the moment.
And I think I know that when you say you need help from the village of Hartland, meaning allowing the annexation and that kind of thing, you're not talking about financial help.
No, I am not looking for financial help.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Correct. Yes, that's fine.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
If the board will allow, I'm going to ask for like a 3-minute recess so I can run out in the hallway, and I will be right back. And anybody else that needs to step out into the hallway for any reason, feel free to do so. Thank you. No, go ahead.
Three and a half? You just wanna, you can read it, but I think
Okay, so the meeting is, we're out of recess now. We have the item I'm asking the board that we move, well, we'll just stick with how we're doing things. We'll finish it off with our item 11, which is in order with how we were going. We have Plan Commission, Architectural Board review and consideration of revised plans for an addition of an attached garage and storage area on St. Charles Congregation property at 313 Circle Drive.
I do believe they are on Zoom, if you recall, this went through Plan Commission and Village Board, it was all approved. St. Charles has obviously rethought it and come up with a new design that they feel will satisfy them and everyone else. But I will let Brian talk.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, the last approval included moving the garbage pickup to inside the garage. That just proved to be difficult for them functionally, and for various reasons would cost them more from their garbage people. So we basically taken the plan for the garage and shrunk it to the east, and then to make room for adding the dumpster enclosure then to the west of the addition, essentially between the playground fence and then a walk between that and the dumpster enclosure. And then the dumpster enclosure fence is kind of flush with the face of the garage addition at this point then. The enclosure would still have brick on the west side, so from the street view, it'd still be a brick enclosure with a metal gate on the front. And then the back would have a gate and a little bit of fence, which can't really be seen from the street.
Which way is it facing? Sorry.
Which way is what facing? Sorry.
I was asking which way it was facing, but it is facing the direction I thought.
Okay.
I know there were some people that had reservations last time because they wanted it moved out back. If anybody on the board has questions, please. I do not have any.
No, I'd just say to the applicant, I appreciate you kind of coming back with a revised plan. I think it looks architecturally better to me, and no, I think it's a better looking plan. So thank you for bringing it back and kind of giving it some thought. And I think what you've come up with looks real good.
Thank you.
Any consideration for some more planting?
Did you hear the question?
No, I'm sorry.
Any more consideration for planting around the parking lot area?
No, we didn't consider that. Any additional planting. The parking area right now goes all the way up to the sidewalk. We're adding a little green space between the sidewalk and the parking.
Any other questions? Anybody else with any questions for the presenter?
I'll make a motion to approve the review and consideration of revised plans for the addition of the attached garage and storage area on St. Charles Congregation property, 313 Circle Drive.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the revised plans for an addition of an attached garage and storage area on St. Charles Congregation property at 313 Circle Drive. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you very much.
All right, have a good night.
Now we have our tabled item, which is Plan Commission and Architectural Board review and consideration of Kwik-Trip, a proposed PUD development project whose approval and rezoning are being sought by Kwik-Trip on property tax key HAV 0730950, located at Highway 83 and West Capitol Drive. Do we have to take it off the table if it's the only thing left? Do we need a motion to take it off the table? Oh, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to take number 8 off the table and put it up right now.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pull the Kwik-Trip project off the table and put it into action here at this meeting now. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. So now we do have that motion, that item in front of us, as I had stated. I don't think I need to restate it. But we do have review and consideration. First, we have the proposed certified survey map, and then we'll have to look at the proposed rezoning to the B2 in conjunction with the PUD agreement for the project. We do have, the village attorney is here in the room, Mr. Delamora. So what I will do first is I would like to turn it over to Mr. Delamora in case there's anything that you need at this time. Then I would like to have Mr. Hussinger talk to staff on if there's anything they need. At that point, we will move to the village manager, and then I'll open it up to, I just want staff to be able to talk before we ask questions that they may answer anyways. So, sir?
With regards to the PUD agreement, it's substantially complete, except for the verification of the insertion of the latest exhibits, which have been outlined in the Rupert and Milky memo that you received. Kwik-Trip has been very cooperative and accommodating. The one thing that you should keep in mind is that they will be taking the lead and be responsible for the improvement of the roadway, even though it's going to be an off-site project for both Kwik-Trip and the quarry project. My understanding is, I haven't been to the site, but they have received an early start permit with regards to the removal of the existing soil there to bring it down to a level that I think will be compatible with the ultimate site plan design.
I was just gonna, when you said they, and I just wanna make sure, you're
Kwik-Trip.
referring to Kwik-Trip is gonna be handling all the road work.
Correct.
Updates
Right.
for that.
The design, the coordination, the construction, and the guarantee.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Does anyone on the board have any questions for Mr. Delamora while he is at the podium?
Well, my only question is, from the memo from Rupert, there's a lot of bullet points of subject to. when will we have that information, or maybe he's providing it tonight? I'm just curious.
I think the representative from Kwik-Trip can provide you with that information, but it will be necessary to have that in hand before the document is executed.
The PUD.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially, so things I learned in my position. A PUD takes a long time, and there's a lot of documents that go with this, huge files. I keep sending them to Sandy. We're back and forth, just fine tuning a word village to a word, or city to village types, things like that. Before any of this goes to Waukesha County for recording, so essentially you guys are approving this PUD that Hector and Kwik-Trip and their attorneys are working on, contingent on everything being submitted. Stormwater, all the plans have been reviewed, the DNR is involved. This is to the end. It took 3 months to get there.
Why is the DNR involved?
Just
Because it's gas?
partial. Do you want to
Okay,
talk about that,
okay.
Troy, the DNR involvement? Do you mind coming
Never
up?
mind.
to the
Well,
mic?
we've got Dino on, just because we do have someone online. I'm gonna add an answer to his question. What will actually happen, like when we get down to PUD is all of a sudden, again, just because whoever's the president has to sign it, I'll get an email saying, okay, the PUD is ready. At which point I come down, and sign the PUD. So at that given time, when it's ready, the board could be notified to make sure all of these things are in there if they want to be. I'm saying if they would feel more comfortable with that.
No, I mean, I trust the officials that are handling it, but I was just curious if,
So my best advice, in the same way we'll handle it with the Corey coming forward, is that if you guys do make an approval for it tonight, that it would be contingent on the village attorney, village engineer, building inspector, myself, and the president being okay with it and signing off on it.
okay, that's fine.
Specific question on the first page of the Rupert Milky, the first bullet point, and then the second bullet point, which is open. Basically, there was a soil management plan that had to be approved by the DNR, and confirmation of that was received this past month.
Thank you very much, Hector. Did you have something to say?
No, I was just going to add that, it's very common whenever you're redeveloping a piece of property that was used for something else. In this case, it used to be a quarry and then it was filled in with some other stuff. It's very, very common that as part of that process, you evaluate the site. The DNR gets involved to make sure that if there is any kind of impacts to the property, that they are properly taken care of, and that the redevelopment of that property accounts for that and makes sure that the public isn't, for example, exposed to things that they shouldn't be. And that's the process that they've worked through, and that's what the purpose of the soil management plan is.
You said the quarry, though, we're talking about Kwik-Trip, right?
So Kwik-Trip was the southern portion of the old quarry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Hussinger.
Well, obviously, there's a lot going on. The rezoning, the PUD, the, final key site plan elements. There are still a handful of things that are just being tweaked. There's a signage package that's substantial that I don't think we've seen. So there's a lot of stuff going on that's not complete yet. I don't think they're looking for a building permit from me, or I'm certainly not going to release one until everyone's satisfied. I guess that's what I'll say.
Just to ask the question, and
Sure.
because I know how it is that if we approve something based on the stipulations that are made here, even though it sounds like 2 of them have already been made, will you literally go through and be like, hey, the village board wanted to make sure, or if it gets to that point, but these were the stipulations the plan commission set forward, I'm gonna make sure each one of these are met?
I mean, this is a big project, so before I issue or release a building permit, I'm talking to 2 or 3 or all the department heads,
Gotcha.
including.
And I just wanted to kind of echo that, the thing you guys don't see behind the scenes. We probably have 5 to 10 emails back and forth, whether it's Hector to Kwik-Trip to us, Ryan Atman, it is a lot. None of this will move forward until Ryan and Hector both kind of bless it that everything's been met that is on the list.
And again, I just wanted to add, I don't want to waste time, but I think that this is an area, when it gets this large, where you do lean on your attorney, you lean on your inspector, you lean on your staff that are doing this and have the 8 or 10 hours a day or more to be sitting and looking into this stuff. However, I want the board to know that they do have the right to come down. If they really wanted to sit and look at that PUD, be like, where does it show this? You absolutely, that is a public document, you absolutely have that right. But I do think it's a good project. I think we're moving in the right direction. I'd like to see it keep on moving forward, and I think we're doing well with this one. I am happy to hear that the DNR is through there, and it sounds like that. I mean, Mr. DeCourcy-Barra, that's going in the right direction, correct? No hiccups.
From what I can tell, it's being managed in the way that the DNR usually manages it.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so, sorry, I'm back to that item. So we have the proposed certified survey map. The only thing that that's the first item we would need to get. We have that proposed map. We want to accept that, correct?
Yes.
So one thing I want to ask, the last plan commission meeting that we had, actually, it may have been 2 meetings ago, but there was a meeting where we were going to widen out that driveway for trucks turning in there. Has that been addressed?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're
guess it
good with
has.
the radius and everything? Okay. We don't think there's gonna be major backups on that road. Good. So with that being said, we would need a motion to approve, to give the plan commission's approval of the proposed certified survey map.
I'll make a motion to approve the CSM, is that what it is?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the CSM for the Kwik-Trip project, as is before us, what we're looking at, and is in the packet and has been reviewed by staff. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Now, we have proposed rezoning to B2 in conjunction with a PUD agreement for the project. Now, I just want to touch on this because the way I'm reading this, and I believe that this is how it is, once the PUD agreement going into effect basically also commences the new zoning. Is that correct?
The PUD is part of the zoning. It would be, when this is all said and done, it'll be B2 with a PUD overlay.
Yes.
It
Yep.
all goes together. It doesn't
That-
go in
yes.
pieces. It's
Yep.
all one.
When that PUD gets signed, that's what makes it all, yes.
It will all be recorded at the county.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Dino, did you have, sorry, Hector.
Yeah,
Mr.
so
Zekis, do you have
is the
something?
Is the zoning automatic then, once that is done?
When they actually have the document, so they will have it here at Village Hall, and based on the board's approvals, when I come and sign it, and I only say I, whoever's the president, they come and sign it, and then that gets taken and delivered to the county and recorded. That is what commences, and then it all will happen at once. The PUD overlay is in effect, the change zoning is in effect.
That's where I was going.
Yep, and then the attorney has a few words here.
The basic activity that's going to take place here falls within the B2 zoning. The reason why we've needed PUD is that they have an exceptionally high sign. What they basically have done is remove the soil from the highest point down to the level where they're going to have the basic store and the car wash. And then they're going to add 30 feet from that point up. So essentially, if you look at it from the basic ground level, it's going to be about a 50-foot sign intended to basically advertise that particular location, which will be open 24/7.
Yep, correct.
Really, that sign's to accommodate the elevation difference between Highway 83 and the site.
So that's still like if you build a 30-foot sign on Highway 83.
Right.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, but that's the whole reason we need the PUD. Got it?
Yep.
Okay. You answered the question before I had a chance to ask it. So, good.
Any other question? I won't talk anymore. Mr. Zekis, anything else? Any other questions?
Nope.
And real quick, just so you guys are all aware, we've talked about the noise of the car washes. We've talked about the lights facing the new apartments. All of these things have been discussed, analyzed, everything is good to go. Those car washes are loud, but when you go away from them, they get pretty quiet. It's loud in your car.
Yeah, it'll be contingent on all the bullet points presented.
I'd like to make a motion on the rezoning to B2 in conjunction with the PUD agreement for the project, contingent on the bullet points necessary from Rukert and Milky on the memo dated February 14th, 2024. And the other items in the packet.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve rezoning of HAV 0730950 located at Highway 83 and West Capitol Drive. This is approving the rezoning in conjunction with the PUD agreement for the project with the stipulation that the items listed by Rukert and Milky regarding this project need to be satisfied, and that the other bullet points in the packet that have been brought up by staff have to be satisfied before that PUD would be signed and executed. And this will go to the village board next week. But regardless, that those items have to be satisfied before that PUD will be put into effect and signed. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. With that, we will be moving towards having a quick trip soon. Even though we've been moving that way, now it'll really start to seem real. The only thing we have left on the meeting is announcements.
Jeff,
Yes, sir.
if I can make a comment quick.
Yes.
I want to apologize, I missed the last 4 trips. I have gone to the Far East and Far Middle East 6 times since Thanksgiving. I haven't been home, and I even have, since January, I had 4 trips to China. And I'm getting ready to go to another one in the middle of March. So it's got to the point that I'm thinking of resigning my job because I cannot sustain 1,000,000 miles in 4 months. I'm not a pilot. So I just thought I'd let you know, it's not done. I can give you miles if you like. You can see my Delta account. It's not something I'm proud of or I want to do anymore. I'm just not for me.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Dino. I can't imagine how much the travel is on you, but I do understand.
7 days every 2 weeks to China.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, I enjoy your insight when you are able to make it and you're not off in China.
I am not going to make any comment. I was interviewed by 2 TV stations there on a CEO conference meeting a week ago, and I was pretty careful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little different, I'm guessing, over. That's what I've heard anyway.
Well, they put a big show.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's different. I've never been politically correct in my life, but I can tell you this on this one. It's pretty different.
Well, thank you, Dino. Good to talk to you. And I will call you to talk about
Yeah, thank you.
stuff.
And today, we had issues with security at work. We end up paying ransom by accident, $400,000 somewhere, wiring money through Chase. The FBI said that's normal. They wouldn't even do anything. So they shut down just about everything. And I had a hell of a time going into Zoom, but now I have the link, so.
Well, I'm glad to hear it was resolved, but that doesn't sound like a fun Monday.
Yeah, we paid someone from China, a former employee of a supplier, was able to mimic the email of several employees and send emails from one employee to the other through accounts payable, who thought it was coming from an employee within the company, and wired money.
Wow. Well, I hope that that doesn't happen again, but regardless, it was very,
If
very
you
good to
wired
see you.
my account, it would have been fine, but it didn't happen.
Do you want to make a
Anyway.
motion?
We adjourn.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting. All in favor? Aye. Good to talk to you, Dino.